Just like the moon eclipsing the sun, a four-leaf clover, a shooting star, an event with the colossal size and scale of UFC 300s is a rare occasion to say the least. An opportunity to remember the journey of MMA's premier promotion so far, for better or worse. As we usher in a third century of war on the big stage, its transition is rightfully so marked by a card of epic proportions. Just like the 100th and 200th before it, it's a card that promises it all. New legends to be carved, legacies ended and forged instantaneously. If you allow me, I'll be your guide through what is sure to be a history-defining moment for the sport. This is a casual's guide to UFC 300. The Ultimate Fighting Championship is cemented as a company that drives controversy in the goal of maintaining viewership. And opening the card with one 5-0 wrestling hotshot Bo Nickel is no clearer example. With the caliber of opponents gracing the preliminary bouts being far higher in fighting pedigree and experience, to the layman his scrap with Cody Brundage appears to be nothing special. But under the hood is a man with the potential to go very far in this game. Hot off the metaphorical press of the Contender Series, Nickel's pedigree as a Division I All-American wrestler had him already pegged as a future great. But the transition to MMA is never an easy one, and to follow in the footsteps of those before him, a long road no doubt lays ahead. His Contender Series performances perhaps give us a glimpse into what was to come though, pulling off 2 round 1 submission wins, the latter with an undeniably slick triangle.
My only note on my paper is, God damn, for a kid who has almost no experience. He's 2-0, and the confidence that this kid has to roll into that triangle, me and a lot of other people are excited to see the future that this kid has. Welcome to the UFC, brother.
The building blocks to make the modern mixed martial artist, Nickel represents the new breed, the new era. And his 2 wins on the big stage against Jamie Pickett and Val Woodburn prove he can do it when the lights are beaming down and the crowd are roaring. Whilst he may have countless rounds of sparring on the wrestling mats, his MMA experience on both an amateur and professional level is sorely lacking, an area in which adversary Cody Brundage certainly isn't. A contender since 2021, a 2-fight win streak including a most recent slam knockout show he is no walk in the park. All expect Nickel to bulldoze through Brundage, and the odds most certainly reflect it. Bo setting the record as the biggest betting favourite in UFC history, an accolade he already owned. But as should always be remembered, MMA is the wildest of sports, and the only one in which victory can be snatched from the jaws of defeat.
O campeão tem nome, se chama Charles do Bronx. Pode bater, bate, filha, homem que aguenta, rapaz. Nós é iluminado, rapaz. Tá faltando alguma coisa aqui, cadê meu cinturão?
Who can stop Du Bronx? That was the question on almost everybody's mind as the Oliveira was in full swing. The once king of the lightweight throne continued to defy the odds with a superhuman resolve. Wins over divisional mainstays in Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. It was his ability to get knocked down and be on the brink of being finished.
He's in trouble. On the round, there's that left hand. Oliveira in a world of trouble early.
Yet come back with a nigh unrivaled tenacity. But the champion now had a name, as Islam Makhachev's rise as the next Dagestani prodigy would reach its ascendancy at UFC 280. Submitting the man with the most submissions in history, Oliveira's run as a lightweight ruler was over.
You're a fighter, and you know exactly what it's like. Sometimes we're here and it's not our day. I promise you, I'm gonna get this back.
To be the best in this game, a loss cannot define you. Very few remain immortal when the dust settles, so mental resilience in the wake of an eventual loss is paramount. Oliveira is a man who is no stranger to such a situation. Only now, as a former king, his outlook is different. Still doubted even now, his quest to be a 2-time champ has begun, and to take his penultimate one, a win over the fearsome Arman Tsarukyan at 300 is required. A man with the same lofty goals that Charles once reached. It's safe to say he has his eyes set on gold and glory.
I have a message. Islam, I'm coming for you.
A man he has once faced inside those 8 cage walls, the Armenian is one of the few men who ever made Makhachev seem mortal, taking him to the brink in his UFC debut at just 22. And although his hand would not be raised that night, it was perhaps a premonition of what was to come in the far future. And now, 5 years later, his maturity and ascension to a modern mixed martial artist has come to fruition. A devastating wrestler with relentless cardio and rapidly improving hands, many peg him to be a future champ and perhaps even a great. And alongside Charles do Bronx, their stories are forever intertwined, both men who have most recently slain the aforementioned Dariush, each eager to redeem themselves and gain back a win over their now king. It's a matchup as close as any, and one that absolutely should be watched with a close eye.
I am the Heat, brother. 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 You're about to see, brother. I am the Heat, brother. I am the Heat, brother.
What is there left that cannot be said about Hawaii's very own Max Blessed Holloway? One of the greatest featherweights to grace the fight game, the dynamic striker charted his way from a hungry kid with a chip on his shoulder to an unstoppable king, and now perhaps a man with superhuman capabilities.
He's even listening to the commentary team.
The best boxer you see, baby! Oh! Right hand!
If not for one divisional GOAT, Alexander the Great Volkanovski, we may well be talking about one of the members of MMA's coveted Mount Rushmore. But every man has to have his nemesis, and Volk could be the one to haunt the Hawaiian for years. 3 crushing losses to the same adversary would mentally fracture a lesser man. Even as Max sustained them post-title reign, his hunger and drive to dispatch all ahead of him would forever remain. Even more impressive is that even with his elite skills and 3 title defenses, his humble beginnings as a mixed martial artist couldn't have been more unorthodox.
So what did you do for striking?
You really want to know what I did?
Yeah.
You know, the UFC game, I would use Renan Barão and Jose Aldo, and I would do stuff with them. I'd be like,
You would watch the video game.
I would play the video game and be like, oh, look at this. I would try combination. I'd be like, oh yeah, this kind of works, so let's try it.
A volume striker with a relentless pace, the Blessed Express is yet to reach its final stop, and even at this stage in his career, continues to dispatch every contender seeking the same glories he once held. In his way for UFC 300, however, is not a man seeking featherweight gold, rather lightweight, and one of the scariest men to enter the cage.
Justin Gaethje is a monster. He's a monster. He's a terrifying individual. In a sport that's violent, it's an inherently violent sport, he stands out as the most violent.
The former interim king and now baddest mother effer champion, the latter is a title most certainly deserved. The human highlight reel is a rightful nickname. A man who doesn't live primarily for the belts and accolades, rather the visceral and raw thrill of the fight.
Yeah, Gaethje with some... Oh, he got him with a shoulder! That is it!
He hit like truck, you know, like nobody hit harder me, like harder than Justin Gaethje.
Big right from Gaethje, and down goes Vic!
Such devastating knockout power in every limb has led such a matchup with Holloway to boil down to one simple question. Can he break the unbreakable? In all 32 professional bouts, not one loss via knockout. In fact, Max has hardly ever looked remotely wobbled. But MMA is the wildest of games, and only the deities ruling it know the true outcome. An upper weight class, it's a matchup that could make or break Max, granting him untold riches or the most gruesome of ends. Our co-main event brings a battle of one nation. 2 warriors of China duking it out for the strawweight strap. The challenger and Yan Xiaonan, a mainstay of the division since 2017, with only 2 losses to the credible Marina Rodriguez and former 2-time champ Carla Esparza. A most recent upset knockout over the knockout artist herself, Jessica Andrade, proves she can hang with the very best. But when the reigning champ is the fearsome Zhang Weili, to have your hand raised is a tall order. Another 2-time champion, Weili has charted her course with a far more bloody resolve than most of her adversaries. One half of the greatest women's fight ever against Hall of Famer Joanna Jędrzejczyk, her heart is most certainly undeniable, but her skills, even more so. One of the most well-rounded in the sport to date, she looks to be streets ahead of just about everyone. But it's mixed martial arts, and you can always be caught, and at any time.
And Weili has landed several of those inside low kicks.
And to round off a historic card, one might argue that on paper, UFC 300's main event perhaps doesn't live up to the grand heights the company has once set. But make no mistake, the 2 clashing inside those walls can provide more than enough entertainment. Jamal Hill, one who to the untrained casual eye is nothing more than a footnote in a vast ocean of contenders. But in truth, a former champion with the elite level fundamentals that few possess. Skills so disciplined and honed that they may be enough to dispatch his formidable adversary. A kickboxer with accolades unmatched, and with just 11 professional MMA fights to his name. A 2-weight UFC champion, enter Alex Poatan Pereira.
He hits people, and it doesn't even make sense.
That motherfucker is so massive. He made Izzy look small,
but he's lean. And you
tall and lean.
Those guys are the guys I worry about.
A man who continues to defy the odds, the Stoic King has bulldozed first through the middleweight division to destroy the King, Israel Adesanya.
Adesanya's on one leg. Two more. That'll do it. He did it. Todd has done it.
And now, upon losing the title, seeks further glory's upper weight class against a new array of killers. But even with such opposition, none could match his kickboxing skills as a decorated glory champion. And 2 wins, with the latter granting him the title, would cement him as one of the greatest combat sports athletes ever. Yes, the UFC have pushed him rapidly, all in the hopes of cultivating a superstar, a gamble that has most certainly paid off. But in the wake of becoming a champion, the allure of the high life has perhaps encapsulated their new star, a man who came from poverty in a tire shop to world-renowned. His media presence in recent months has undeniably increased.
Oh, shit! Oh, what percent? What percent? I can't...
1, 2, 3.
You felt my neck crack? Oh, what the?
The end result is a more high-profile and relatable champ that is far beyond the stone-faced persona we once saw. But at what cost? Conor McGregor is, of course, the most perfect example. A man who had it all, yet failed to maintain the high highs he reached for more than a few fleeting moments. Even still, stylistically, the champ's clash with Jamal is an intriguing affair, a striking duel of epic proportions that in some capacity mirrors the champ's matches with the last stylebender. A sticky jab into a straight may well be the key, especially when considering the two have been sharing knowledge in the bid for Hill's victory. Pereira's calf kicks could be the difference maker on the other end, with them being a key component in his wins over Adesanya. For whoever the loser, sweet dreams is the likely outcome. And a light heavyweight where both men can swing whilst throwing caution to the wind, a knockout seems all but certain.